So I decided to do a little maintenance on my RC. I have a 2000 SP1 and I decided to get some new air filters and put them in the bike. I'm pretty good mechanically. I'm not a genius, so you have to bear with me. The first thing you're going to end up doing is, as you see, I've got the tank propped up. You don't need to disconnect any lines. Just unbolt it from the housing and just prop it up, high enough for you to get your hands in there. I got some pretty big hands, so I just use an extension. Then you're going to take off the air cleaner cover. And there's 7 screws, and then you've got your air filter sensor connector right here. You just disconnect that, unscrew the 7 screws. They'll come off, and then you also got your rubber covers, which I think are pretty neat. They've got little insulators in here to protect it, because we all know that the RC gets extremely hot. So I actually already took the filter out, and all I did was set it back in there so I can see, because there's no videos on how to do anything on this bike since it's so old, and there was no YouTube or anything like that. So I figured I'd help some of the guys out who are like me, who may know a little bit more about cars, but not a whole lot about this bike. I knew a lot more about my VFR and my CBR than this thing. But I like tinkering with stuff. I don't want to do too much that I would cause a lot of damage and end up spending a lot of money. I do have a service manual on my laptop, which is in my kitchen, which I totally forgot yesterday. So I grabbed it this morning. It's about 06 right now. I couldn't sleep, so I figured I'd come out here. This always makes me feel better. So the air cleaner has a screw and like a housing. I forgot what it's called. Well, I have to go look at the manual and give the actual name. But there's a screw that's attached to the air cleaner itself, and it screws down into the housing. So what the manual says is, I'll try and get this in there. Come from the other angle and zoom in, because you can see it better on this one. But let me get the focus. Come on, work with me. There's a screw right there, and the screw goes down into the housing, but there's a little bracket, and the bracket is attached to the air cleaner, so it's all one thing, which I didn't know, because when you're ordering these parts, they don't always have pictures. It's just the part number itself. So that was something I learned this morning as I was trying to get it out. And what the manual says is pretty simple. It just says turn it outward after you've unscrewed it. Turn it outward and remove it from the rear. So you can hear it's already loose, because again, I already took it out. So turn it outward. And as you can see, well, no, you can't see it very well. There's no light in there. Anyway, but the bracket itself has spun to my left. So that's kind of what happens when you're working with stuff at 6 o'clock in the morning, when you got much light, because you can't put your garage up because it's still dark out. Anyway, so all I did was turn the air cleaner element clockwise, about a quarter of a turn, and then you could actually really see the bracket. See if I can stick my light in there so you can see it better. And there you can see the bracket, and that's the one I'm talking about. It's actually built onto the air cleaner, and it comes down in the housing. So again, all I did was turn it about a quarter of a turn clockwise, and then it comes straight out. I'll set it up here. That's the bracket I was talking about. So as you can see, the screw everything, it's all in there. And then when you look down inside, you can see right here, that's where it mounts to. Like I said, I'm not a professional cameraman either, so bear with me, guys. So it's pretty simple. Once you read the manual and the little tools that actually come with this bike, unless you're a mechanic and you've got, you know, a couple grand worth of tools, they actually work really well because they can get in all these little tight spaces that you don't need. So that's my air filter element. Since this bike is so old, most of you know, most dealerships don't have the parts on hand. I was going to order them off of Amazon, but it was going to take forever and a day. So I just opted to just go to the dealer, and then he only ordered one. So I got to go back and get another one. It won't be until Tuesday. So I figured I could take the bike apart and get it ready. So that way when the stuff comes, I'm good to go. And I'm gonna stop it here. Okay, and for ease of the video, all I did was just use two hands to unscrew it, so again, it screws out of the little housing in the back, turn it a quarter turn, and lift it out. And look at that, all kinds of bugs and everything else comes flying out. So that is what the box looks like. Looks like there's a little bit of or something down in there. I'll have to clean that out. Make sure it's okay. A little residue down in there. Clean it out and see where that's coming from. So it came from one side. But that's how to change out the air filter elements in a 2000 RC51 SP1. Again, thanks for bearing with me. Not a professional. Never tried to make a video before, but I figured, what the hell? Got nothing else to do this morning until I decide to work on my car later on. Next would be the spark plugs. And we'll see how that goes.